Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A lot of developments on the Ukraine front and related to Russia and Ukraine, obviously. Well, I'm going to start with a massive drone and missile attack on Ukraine conducted by the Russians today, the 2nd of November 2024. And here we have it coming from Ukrainska Pravda. November 2nd, 2024. Russia launches 71 UAVs at Ukraine. 39 downed, 5 flew back to Russia. Here is the evidence provided by the Ukrainians that the drones were all downed. Or at least, 31 were there? 39. It was confirmed on the morning of November 2nd that air defense assets and personnel had downed 39 Russian UAVs in Kurakhove, Kiev, Sumy, and Poltava Oblast as a result of night combat efforts. So Kurakhove, Kiev, Sumy, Poltava. All right, we have here the map of Ukraine. We have Kiev here, Poltava here, and then we have obviously the Sumy here, Kurakhove. So this area in this center, this is where the Russians attack, mainly Kiev. We're going to see that none of the Russian drones or missiles were able to cause any damages. Why? Because the Ukrainians are so good at downing their drones. Another 21 drones disappeared from radar. So you got 39, you got 5 going back to mommy, to Russia, and 21 just disappeared from radar, right? So 39, that's 40. 50, 60, 65 out of 71. Correct? Correct. In total, the Russians fired a Kh-31P missile launched from the airspace of Russia's Belgorod Oblast and 71 attack UAVs launched from the directions of Russia's Oriol and Kursk. So one missile from Belgorod and then the drones from Oriol and Kursk. Oriol and Kursk are located in this area. And Belgorod, it is a little bit south here. So the missile came from Belgorod and the drones came from Oriol and Kursk, right? Where's Kursk? Yep. Currently, there are about 5 attack UAVs in the air. Combat air efforts are ongoing. Earlier reports indicated that as a result of the Russian attack, apartment buildings and private houses in Sumy, Poltava, Kiev, and Odessa Oblast were damaged by falling drone wreckage. So now we got Odessa Oblast as well, which is in the south by the Crimean Peninsula. Here is Odessa Oblast by Romania right here. And if you think I'm joking, no, this is Romania right here. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then stick around. Next article comes again from the Ukrainians from Ukrinform, and they tell us that defense forces neutralized all Russian drones targeting Kiev Saturday morning. Ukraine's air defense intercepted all Russian kamikaze drones that were heading towards Kiev in waves in the early hours of Saturday, November 2nd. So they did a great job, all of them. As a result of an attack by Russian unmanned aerial vehicles on Kiev, debris fell in 6 districts of the city. 6, and there is damage to residential buildings and cars. All fires have been extinguished. At the moment, only 1 casualty has been confirmed. The policeman was poisoned by combustion products, the report said. Okay, do you think that it is accurate? All right, as always, we go with, since we can verify that, I can't verify that, you can't verify that. Everything that you get from some other people reading what the military says. Maybe you have, if you don't have someone who really saw a drone hitting a building, then everything else we got from governmental or, people allowed to give us the information. Now, is it possible that all drones were down? Yeah, it's possible. Is it probable? No, I don't think so. But since I don't have the evidence, I would go 50-50. But we're going to read what the Russians say about this attack. Remember, the Ukrainians will tell you tomorrow or within the 48 hours, so 2 days. This is the direct experience with them. And not only with them, they're not bad people, let's put it this way. It's just they're fighting a war and they can't tell you, yeah, this guy's this up. So within 48 hours, the Ukrainians, the same outlets that right now tell you that they downed all drones and the debris fell, they will tell you tomorrow that about, I don't know, 400,000 customers have no electricity because of the debris. You believe that? I don't. I don't believe that it's just the debris. But hey, let's read further and see what the Ukrainians say and then what the Russians say. Ukrainska Pravda. Drone wreckage falls in 6 out of 10 Kiev districts. And remember, they destroyed all drones. It's just a wreckage. So it's the same thing, what they tell us, they destroyed everything, blah, 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 and we're gonna go to the Russians. And the Russians say that actually, according to the Russians, obviously, Russia Today, Russian military strikes Ukrainian General Staff building. Moscow says it has targeted a drone command and control center in Kiev, where all those drones were down, remember? The Russian military has conducted strikes on a drone command and control center of the Ukrainian General Staff, the Defense Ministry in Moscow has announced. Is it true? This applies, the same rule applies here as to the Ukrainian reports, which is possibility 100%, probability I give it 50%, because I don't know. The ministry mentioned the strikes in its weekly briefing on Friday. Apart from the command center in Kiev, the Russian military also targeted Ukrainian drone manufacturing sites and UAV stockpiles. You can say, well, Emil, this was before Saturday morning. Well, it was or it wasn't. They claim it that they attacked this control and command office, head office, General Staff building. The Defense Ministry did not specify when the strike took place, as the center was apparently subjected to multiple attacks over the week. On Tuesday, the Russian military also mentioned the facility in its daily briefing. So this is from Tuesday, according to these guys. So that's what they say. Is it true? Who knows? Next one. This comes from the Ukrainians, so this must be true, right? Russian forces capture Yasna Polyana, advance near Kurakhove and Toretsk in Donetsk Oblast, deep state. So they're going to show you a little map here. That is over there, the Kurakhove. That's right there. And I'm going to show you two more maps. So the first one, I'm going to go to this one so you can see where then the big scheme of things all this occurs is right here in towards Pokrovsk. So this is Donetsk right here. So the Russians are moving towards Donetsk. The Russians call it differently than Donetsk. Pokrovsk, the Donetsk Oblast. And here is what these guys are talking about. Kurakhove, this is where the Russians are moving towards. And I'm going to show you a detailed map. This doesn't zoom closer than this, but this is a bad deal for the Ukrainians as well as this. The goal is Pokrovsk right here. So let's see where the other one is right here. So this is Kurakhove. So the Russians advanced and occupied this area here, advancing toward Kurakhove. This is another, obviously, map in the same location. Let's go to the next subject. I mean, the same with the Kurakhove, Yasna Polyana, and the other one was, where is that at? Toretsk. Russian forces have occupied the village of Yasna Polyana in Donetsk Oblast and advanced around 5 additional settlements. Advanced around 5 additional settlements. The translation would be they're screwed. According to an update by the Analytics Project Deep State on November 2nd. The report states the Russian forces have made gains in Maksimivka near Novoukrayinska in the Vremivka sector, as well as in Novodmitrivka near Kurakhove, Druzhba near Toretsk, and around Terny in Liman sector. This going north from here. So that not from here, from this. Pokrovsk, Liman, and all that is in this area. So the Russians are advancing, I would say, on all this front. Nothing necessarily here in Zaporozhye Oblast or in Kherson. but definitely right here in Kharkiv, and you got a little bit of Luhansk, and then you got here Lugansk, I'm sorry, and then you have Donetsk. All right, the Russians, came to their senses, sobered up, and I'm glad I see this coming from the Russians. That is, no repeat of Minsk agreements, Moscow. Russia will not sign any deal that freezes but does not end the Ukraine conflict, the country's envoy to the United Nations has said. Moscow will not repeat its past mistakes of being too gullible, I would call, and agree to another conditional Minsk-type deal that would only serve to pause the Ukraine conflict instead of resolving it once and for all. Russia's permanent representative to the United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, has insisted the Minsk agreements were struck by Russia and Ukraine in 2014 and 2015 having been mediated by the leaders of France and Germany. They were the guarantors of the 2015. They were aimed at resolving tensions following the Western-backed Maidan coup. Remember anyone? That overthrew the legitimate government in Kiev, democratically elected. Senior Ukrainian, German, and French officials, and that it was Poroshenko, what's his name, the former Ukrainian president. Then you have the Chancellor Merkel, and you have the French Hollande. Officials have since openly admitted that they never intended to adhere to the agreements, but used them to buy time for Kiev to rearm. Well, I think that's great news. And how about the no-inch eastward NATO expansion gentleman agreement? Remember that one, my Western friends? Yes, it was James Baker, who spoke with the Soviets and the Russians, how you want to call them, after Soviet Union collapsed, through an understanding. Let's put it that right here, so we don't have any misunderstandings. I know, we won. Yes, we won. I think people in general won, but some also lost. In this case, there was a little agreement regarding the unification of Germany, Western Germany with Eastern Germany. And the Russia says, yes, we allow them to do this, but NATO, okay, no. NATO is not going to expand 1 inch towards your country. Until then, look, pick up a map and see how far NATO expanded from Eastern Germany up to their border in the Baltic states. And now you have Finland, and Norway was there anyway, but I'm talking about this. And then you have Poland, Romania, and all these are next to Russia. So that was a lie. Our politicians that you're going to vote for lied. Well, you can say, well, they were smart. Well, it depends what kind of values you have. If you avoid responsibility and you have someone else picking your hot potato and you take all the glory, then you're an asshole. By my values. By the current values pushed on us, that's fantastic. You are very smart. Now, how come we change this? Well, I tell you how we change this. We are under cultural occupation, my friends. All right, so that was the first lie. And there were some more by our elected officials. Actually, James Baker was a appointed bureaucrat, all right? But nevertheless, he didn't do that by himself. He followed orders. So that was the first lie, very big lie. All right, next one. We're going to go to Zelensky, who tells us the truth again. Remember, Zelensky is a promoter of big lies. I don't know, I have a gut feeling that's the way he is. And he says that, he claims that 100,000 North Koreans could fight in Ukraine. I would say that's going to be 101, not 100,000. There's going to be 100,001 North Koreans could fight. I think if you go by could, that's a possibility. I would say there could be, 2 million. It's a possibility. Where did he pull this 100,000 exactly? Remember, these guys are, when you see a rounded number, that means it's just a guess. So if you hear 6 million, It can't be, 6 million. Could be, 5,900,000, or it could be 6,500,000, blah, blah, blah. 6 million, exactly, rounded up. So that's a guess. So the same with these guys with 100,000. Could, I don't know, maybe I could be jumped when I go outside by 3 guys today. Could. Do I care about could? But nevertheless, he says that why? He wants the West, you, if you're in the West, to go and fight for the interests that organize this garbage in Ukraine. And that's going to happen. And the Russians will have no patience. And they have nuclear weapons. That's what I'm talking about. No patience. So let's read and see what kind of information he has. I mean, maybe he has some great sources like the United States intelligence services. Some 3,000 soldiers are already in Russia, according to a Ukrainian leader, a claim that Moscow has not confirmed. So what if they are? My question is, all right, is it illegal? No, then what? The West has shown zero reaction to the alleged movement of North Korean troops into Russia, which means that Pyongyang may send as many as 100,000 troops to fight Kiev, Ukrainian leader. Why do you guys call him Ukrainian? Why? Leader Vladimir Zelensky Stein has claimed. So his logic is what? Because the West shown zero reaction to the reports or claims that there are troops in Russia, that means that immediate reaction is, oh, they may send up to 100,000 troops. As I say, why not 200,000? He just pulls out of his little used ass. Russia has neither confirmed or denied the presence of North Korean troops on its soil, saying merely that its cooperation with Pyongyang proceeds according to Defense Partnership Treaty. What's wrong with that? Russian President Putin is testing the reaction of NATO nations, said South Korea Zelensky. In South Korea, Zelensky said in an interview with South Korean national broadcaster which was released on Thursday, and I'm quoting, "I believe that the reaction so far has been nothing, zero." The Pyongyang assessed this week that North Korea had sent 10,000 troops to Russia. All right, some of them supposedly going to Kursk region to fight the Ukrainians. The Ukrainian military reports 3,000 North Korean soldiers being in Kursk, Zelensky said, urging a stronger response by foreign backers. What does that mean, stronger? He claimed his forces could face a much stronger opponent otherwise. Whether it would be 3,000, 10,000 or 100,000 depends directly on the reaction, he said. If the reaction is weak, there will be more of them. So he's not pulling out a number, he's just giving it could be. So that means he wants the Westerners to say, if you guys send, I mean, how do you think the Westerners are supposed to react? Telling the Russians that if you can do that, then we can do that too. So if there's another country fighting against Ukraine, then we are going to send our boys. And it's exactly what I suspect will happen. I mean, I not suspect, I predict will happen. This conversation will take place. We're going to hear very soon in the media, maybe in 1-2 days, when this guy's going to say, well, we babooned enough our imbeciles, and now we can just say it. Yeah, this is the normal reaction. They help them, we help them. We can do this, they can't do that. All right, and let's go to the last topic of this video, and when I'm going to read just the title of this video, maybe a little paragraph, think about this. Criminals now are viewed by our governments as, or the media, the operatives, as some kind of heroes. Now, criminals do not necessarily look at, oh, right now we're criminals against Russia, and tomorrow when this ends, we're just going to go back and work as, I don't know, salesperson somewhere. No, they will turn around and will be criminals towards everybody else, because that's what the criminals do. Do you think they're going to look at, oh, it's just because the Russians? Let me show you the article. This comes with a new voice of Ukraine. Ukraine's military intelligence paralyzes operations of Russian banks in Crimea. This is called somehow hacking, I think. No? So, as a result of the successful 24-hour DDoS attack, the online banking system of Gazprom Bank, Russian National Commercial Bank, Bank Center Invest, and Credit Ural Bank were paralyzed. Tens of thousands of Russians were left without online access to their bank accounts, the source noted. My point is this. They can do the same thing to JP Morgan, no? Can do it with, I don't know, to Frankfurter Bank. They can do it to many other banks in the West, but they won't do it. So it's either is controlled by our boys from the West, and once they are done with the Russians, they will not turn around to their own banks that own them actually, or these criminals that right now are hailed as, hey, look what they did to the private citizens in Crimea. They can turn around and do it to you. Don't you think so? I think so. So again, hailing these guys committing this kind of warfare tactics, what do you think prevents them from doing that to you and to the Western world? Because they're nice? I don't trust that. I don't believe that for a second. The same thing with the weapons. The weapons that they receive over there in Ukraine, there will be, with no doubt, I would say no doubt, they will trickle down to the organized crime. And not only Ukraine will be a failed state with weapons, what do you think they will do? They will say, okay, right now we're going to just start regular jobs. Are you crazy? No, they will do what they do best, what a criminal does, which is crime. Against whom? Where the money is. Where the money is, the Russians or the Western Europe and America. So remember, when you're going to hear about, oh, the Russians hacked this or the Russians, so could the Ukrainians, unless this so-called Ukrainian intelligence is actually the US intelligence and the British intelligence who are working through Ukraine to do what they do here. That means if they do that, they can do it to you as well. All right, my friends, here is for this first video. Morning, 2nd of beautiful day, 2nd of November, no wind outside, beautiful day today. I wish you have a fantastic day. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.